All right. Good morning. Good morning. This is Richie Contartesi coming to you live from beautiful and sunny Las Vegas, Nevada with another episode of SalesPreneur, And today's episode is something that has brought so much clarity on how to become a peak performer, how to become a peak performer. And so I reached out to multiple executives, multiple people who are high level in big companies, as well as really successful entrepreneurs. And then I looked back to some of the things that I did at Ole Miss, some of the things that I did when I wrote my book and started a few different businesses, and how I was able to take something from scratch and make it successful, whether I was in sales, entrepreneur, and then also communicating and speaking with some high-level executives on how to become a peak performer. And I found an issue. I found a problem, a very big problem that a lot of executives, leaders, entrepreneurs, and salespeople all face on either becoming a peak performer themselves or creating peak performers on their team. And the problem is this: most of the time, people focus on the wrong thing or on only one area. So when it comes to I'm going to use obviously sales, because most of the people that listen to this are in sales in some capacity or an entrepreneur, same thing, right? And so when we talk about becoming a better performer, increasing performance, increasing sales, making a bigger impact, there's two areas, not one, there's two areas that are critical in order to become a peak performer. The problem is that most people only focus on one of these areas, only one of them, or they kind of focus heavily on one and combine them. And so the two areas are this: the strategy side of things and the performance side of things. So when I had a little bit of the wrong mindset of this. I was asking some executives and saying, and leaders, and I was saying, hey, what's more important, the strategy, the sales methodology, or is it the execution of that? And so surprisingly enough, the majority said the execution, which was now is shocking to me, because obviously the way that I've figured this out is that it's both. And they're completely separate things, and you have to train them completely differently. So a lot of people, when they're focusing on increasing sales or increasing the sales of their team or their sales force, they're focused on the strategy. We got to get the better methodology, the better sales process, the better systems, and that is very important. But they're leaving out something so critical. They're leaving out a portion of this that is so important, that is critical to becoming a peak performer. What's up, Eve Jeanette? And that's the performance side of the training, right? Because you can have all the strategies, the methodologies, and so how many salespeople or entrepreneurs do you know, or maybe yourself, where you've I got my strategy, I know I've got the trainings, but I'm still not where I want to be. I'm still not performing at a high level. I'm not producing the sales that I should have. And the reason being is because you're only focusing on one area of becoming a peak performer, and that's on the strategy side of things. So the ones that are the most successful split these up between strategy training and performance training. Or, the performance training side of things, all this is the person that you have to become in order to execute these strategies successfully. The person that you have to become to successfully execute on the trainings, on the strategies, on the methodologies in order to become successful, right? So I remembered my high school football coach said at one time after a game, he was so upset, he was frustrated, and he says, it's not about the game plan, it's how you execute the game plan that matters. he can give us multiple game plans and they're all pretty good, but it doesn't matter if we don't execute those game plans, right? So you have to grow not only professionally, right, the strategy, but you have to grow personally. You have to become the person that can handle rejection, that is resilient, right, and other things. So I'm gonna break those down. So the strategy side of things, the method, the techniques, the strategy, the systems, all of those things, right? That's the strategy. The performance side of things is you. Who are you? How have you grown as a person, right? Have you learned people? Have you building relationships, right? Pain management caused by fear of failure and rejection and all of those things. Resiliency, persistence, engagement, right? Engagement with your company, with your brand, right? Engagement with your particular goals, right? So you have your organizational goals and you have your goals. Are they aligned, right? Are you staying motivated? And my word here, and that's the relentless hustle and pursuit to achieve those goals. So your goals, your why, your organizational goals, these are all you personally and your performance, right? This is your performance training. This is how you take the strategies, the techniques, and this is what everybody teaches. Everybody teaches the strategies and the techniques and the how-tos, and I think that's important, and you have to have that. But if you haven't become the person that you need to be in order to execute those, then you're not going to be successful. You're not going to be in the top 1%, right? You're not going to achieve any goal that has massive amounts of competition, right? So that's the big idea that I want you to take away from this. Is that it's not just becoming a peak performer is not just learning the strategies and the techniques and the tricks and all of these and the methods and the methodologies, right? But it's the person that you have to become, the performance side of things. So you have a line, you have peak performer. Then you have two lines like this. One of them is the strategy and the other one is the strategy training, the sales training, the method training. And then the performance training. And the performance training is you. Are you the person that you need to be to execute those? And that's the difference between the top salespeople, the top entrepreneurs, the top organizations, is they inspire their people, they engage their people, they develop their people, and they retain their people by executing on those things. So that is what I have today. I think the peak performer thing has, from all of the research and people that I've talked to, has become one-sided, and it's not right. It's taking away from you and who you have to become in order to achieve that. That's why so many people never make it in sales, or they never make it as an entrepreneur, because they're only focused on one area. But you have to focus on both. You got to focus on both. So that's what I have today on Tuesday. I know yesterday was a holiday. I hope you had a great long weekend and you're ready for this week. And one thing to keep in mind is, as you're growing as a professional and you're learning and you're getting these strategies and all of these things that are going on, don't forget about you and who you have to become to execute on all of these strategies and methods and what you're learning. Because if you don't become that person that can do that, then all of those strategies, methods, all of that does not matter. So, absolutely, Jeanette, I do not have any questions. So that is all that I have for you today. Have a great week this week. It's a short week, so we got to make up for it, right? We got to put the pedal to the metal. So I hope you have a great week and you focus on both areas, both sides. You focus on the strategy, and obviously you got to learn that, but you focus on you and how you're growing. And whether that's, books, courses, whatever you need to do, you're willing to do it. So that is all that I have today. And I hope you go out and have a great week. I will see you next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific sharp.